Time now for the voice of the land on the Big Play Network with your hosts, Kevin Arnold and Always Positive Jay.
Wow, it's been a while, guys, but we are back. That's right. The voice of the land is back. And we're in different chairs, guys.
We got the bouncy chairs.
Yeah,
we're all in like
all right.
chairs.
Don't mess people's heads up as they're watching on YouTube or social media, wherever they may be
I just
watching.
love that Ryan jumped right in with me. He's like, "Yeah, these things are."
I did too, and I was the one saying, "Let's not do that." I'm just doing it at the same time. But we are, of course, part of the Big Play Network. We are brought to you, partner with LPV Productions, and brought to you by our friends over at Greeny Sports Cards. I want to make sure I get this right. So I have it up in front of me. I don't care. I will read things off my phone. I don't care how that looks on a camera because I want to make sure I get it right. Do you know that they have these shows in Kirtland, Ohio all the time? The next one is this Saturday, November 16th, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. A lot of people show up. Kirtland Senior Center, 7900 Euclid Chardon Road in Kirtland, or you can always give them a call, 330-486-5159, or go to greenysportscards.com for all the information. They were just live last night. I know that they've had a fellow Big Play teammate on in Nick Padone. They've had so many different guests, but they're always live every Tuesday on social media. Make sure you follow our friends at Greeny Sports Cards. And we will be joined by Andy Billman, the director of Believeland and War on the Diamond. Both great documentaries.
Two of my favorite documentaries.
We'll see if he has anything else in the works right now, but he's just going to come on and just join the show and we're just going to talk sports, Cleveland sports, because I know he jumps on. He jumps on Instagram Live after games for the most part. Official
He's
Cleveland
got the
sports.
best like reaction to wins. I love it.
Yes.
The clap.
Yeah, so the Cavs playing in Philly right now. I know that Philly doesn't have their main stars. Sometimes that's not a great thing because younger guys, they want to step up. They want to show, that, hey, we don't need these injured guys. But, even with that type of fight, they are 2-8 are Philadelphia. The Cavaliers are 12-0. End of the first quarter, another 30-point quarter for these guys.
Nice.
31-27. Karis LeVert leading the way with 7 points for these guys. Of course,
Sixth man of the year, Karis LeVert.
He's
Yes.
been a beast this year.
And
Perfect role.
And so let's start there. Let's just jump right into the Cavs because we haven't had a chance to talk since this whole hot start has happened. And we can talk about the core four, which we're going to. But you look at this bench bunch and what they've been able to do to add or bring in more energy when the starters don't necessarily have it like they did the other night. And Kenny Atkinson goes with a full bench bunch, not a single starter in the game. And a lot of people, and rightfully so, are talking about Ty Jerome and the way that he reminds them either of Matthew Dellavedova or, Ricky Rubio, kind of a combination of the two. He's giving you defense. He's getting the steals, getting out on the break is,
his style. Actually, I don't think he reminds me of either one of them.
I
disagree.
I
don't think he has the same style. I think he's different than both of those guys. Where Dellavedova was straight defense, hustle, grit. And
he could hit threes. We always chanted
Delly's three was the most awkward looking shot.
And he wasn't
He
consistent.
really was not a good shooter.
Yeah, he wasn't consistent.
Yeah.
Ty has been more consistent than
and
that.
He's a lot bigger, dude. Ty's what, like 6'5", dude.
Yeah.
And the question with him was like durability as well. Like with the Warriors, he was injured, two different injuries. And, this year he seems to be healthy and he just has been like one of the major assets for this team.
And what was the thing that Rubio lacked? Was defense. Like he wasn't really all that great. Yeah. Ty is a beast out
So
there.
that's why people say it's a combination.
That's what I'm saying. Like maybe it's a combination. I don't like.
But it's not.
He is his own player though. Like I just think he's better. I think he's better than both those guys.
Well, I do too.
When we had him, I think
Rubio
was a great player in his prime, but
I think that they compare him to those two not because of style, because he definitely has his own style. He plays at his own pace. But I think it's just like what he brings to the floor is kind of a combination of those two. You're getting best of both worlds right there in his style. Now, again, like I said, he plays at his own pace, but that's not like Kyle Anderson, where Kyle Anderson is like, he literally has the nickname Slow-Mo, and he's been around. That's a journeyman around the league. Ty Jerome he can speed it up. He can slow it down. He can slow walk it to the basket. He can, kind of hezzy dribble and get to the basket, get guys open, hit them on the corners for threes. He can knock down the three himself. Like that has been so good. But a guy that I don't feel like is talked about enough and was questioned whether he was going to stay here, whether he was going to be a part of this whole thing. Karis LeVert, guys. I mean, like we said, I mean, he's 6th man of the year candidate, like Ty Jerome is, and he has just been consistent coming off the bench. He has lived that role coming off the bench, and Ryan, like he doesn't take issue with it. He could be a starter anywhere else, but that's the type of culture that has been here, and they're taking it to another level this year.
Yeah, the fact that he requested to come off the bench because he likes to run the offense. He likes to be the guy with the ball in his hands. He likes to facilitate, and he likes to shoot the ball. I mean, for that second team, the guys off the bench, he's a leader. He's fantastic, and it's not really a step back when Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell go off the floor because with Ty Jerome and LeVert leading the way for the second team, it's there's no step back. It's they're playing great together. It's like a whole nother just fresh air. It's beautiful.
It's like he has a talking style. He has such a different style. He has that herky jerky like style where like Donovan and Garland are like more of a smooth type player.
Right.
And I bet it throws defenses off because you're getting used to one style, and then this guy comes in and he's got a whole different style. And
he's like a bullet. Yeah.
I'm so proud of what this team has done, and I love that the coach is kind of doing what the Guardians coach did. He didn't erase everything that they had good or there. He's like, this team's got great defense, and they're still playing that great defense that they've learned from JB Bickerstaff. But now they have this new offense, and I think it's unlocked them big time, the core four, especially because Garland's back to being Garland.
Yeah.
But what I'm most impressed with is the two bigs being able to play with each other.
Well, and Garland, I think you see the difference, and I've brought this up different areas, different times since the season started, even just before it started. If you go back to media day last season, he had this weird interaction with the media. Like there was like this weird vibe around Darius Garland. I don't know if a lot of people noticed it, but he was like, he kind of had that almost like when Kevin Stefanski likes to be like coy with and kind of like try to have fun, sarcasm in his style. Like that's the vibe that I got from Garland with the media. So it just felt like he came into the year with a weird vibe, and then, you get the jaw broken. You're trying to come back. You're trying to put the 10, 15 pounds back on. We started to see the Garland that we knew when, unfortunately, Donovan Mitchell went out and Jared Allen went out in the playoffs. Like, he started to come around the more games he was playing in those high-pressure situations.
Right.
And he's carried that over to this year. And you said he's back to being Darius, and it's not just on the floor. It's personality-wise. Like, that's the Darius that we know and love, the all-star guard that we know and love and can play at that all-star level, where he's playing with the joy of just balling on the court. He's playing a sport that he absolutely loves, and he's playing with guys that he loves and teammates that he cares for. Yes, the Cavs only made one change, guys, or one big change, and that's changing from JB Bickerstaff to Kenny Atkinson. But yeah, this team, I think, knew, hey, this front office, this organization, they trust us a lot. We have not come through enough. If they're going to keep us together, we better do something. And they came in. Kenny Atkinson has talked about it. Other guys have talked about it. They came into open gyms, open courts before the official practices and training camp even started. And they just had a purpose about them. And you're seeing that manifest itself into this hot start. Now, are they going to go 82-0?
Yes.
All right. Well, I guess I can't actually have a reality.
Until proven otherwise, I will say
you guys
yes.
sound like Jacob now. He asked Debbie.
Fine.
He asked Debbie, how many games are they going to win? And she doesn't follow sports. So she's like 78. He's like, okay.
I was going to say, let's be
78-4.
realistic, Ryan. How about 81-1?
Sure.
Yeah. Blow away the record of 73.
We'll split the last game
Chump
out.
change.
73
Let
and
them
nine.
rest.
But look, the NBA is a tough league. Now, the Eastern Conference has started out to be.
Hey, I want to
one of the
ask you guys
weakest.
this before you get.
Yeah.
What has been your favorite thing about this streak? And I'll tell you what mine is, and you'll understand why I interrupted you.
Okay. Ryan, you go first because
You kind of stole my thunder. I loved Ty Jerome's game. I think he is just an asset. I think when he took over the game late, what was it? I forget who we were playing. 2 games ago. No, last game. I was in Disney. I don't know. I'm tired, guys. I just got back from Disney.
I was at the game and I can't remember it, dude.
That was
Yeah.
No, they were on the road. They were
an insignificant
Was it the last
opponent.
home
Yeah, they were in
Nonetheless,
Chicago.
he took over the game. He had several steals. We were down by 10 in the fourth quarter, and
Bulls.
there you go. Thank you, the Bulls. Down by 10 in the fourth quarter, and he turned it on. And I think that he lit a spark under our butt, and we came on top because of his play. I think he was a huge asset. I loved watching him, and I think that if we can stay healthy, guys, this is going to be something special for sure. So
the favorite part for me has been what I've been asking for so long. Fun ball movement basketball. You can hate me for saying this because you've probably heard it many times. You'll hear it many times again. And I'm sorry to add to it, but the ball moves faster by the pass than the dribble, and it has energy. And when you move the ball around the outside, you swing it around, you try to push it inside, kick it back outside, whatever direction you may have to go, the faster that ball moves, you get the defense on their heels. And when that open opportunity happens, each guy is ready for it. And when the ball has energy, now you're shooting a higher percentage because you're getting better shots instead of, just give it to Donovan at the top.
It feels good too, just touching the ball and passing it to your buddy, being involved and knowing that it can come to you at any moment.
Different guys have been stepping up every single game.
It's so fun.
Fun. And that's what I want to see this whole season. I don't care about the start has been great, and I want it to go as far as it can go. But I want this style this is the style of basketball that's going to win. You got to start strong. You got to maintain in the middle when the dregs of the long NBA season come about. And then you got to finish. You got to finish strong as well going into the playoffs. And this team has that kind of mindset. You just have to take it day by day. What has been your favorite part before we bring in our guests?
My favorite part is, they made this in-tournament thing to make the regular season mean something, get these players to play harder, because it kind of in the regular season, it's kind of a joke at the beginning of the year for the NBA. You got guys sitting out and all this, and teams aren't really giving it them all. This has put a target on our back. We know that everyone is coming at us with everything they got because they want to be the team that ends that streak. We're playing playoff style basketball early in the season, and that's going to help us so much later down the road to be able to fall back on them and be like, guys, we've been here, we've done that, we know what these guys are going to do when they give us our all, and we have to continue on and build on this and just get it into a routine of playing hard all the time. And I think it's going to help us so much down the long.
And like I said, this is the majority of the season. This has to be the style. There's going to be nights where shots don't fall. Right. And we've even seen them win on nights where shots weren't falling from the starters. But this has got to be the mindset. You're seeing it have success. Don't stray from this just because you think, we need to fall back into who we once were. No, you don't. This is who you were always supposed to be. This is what you were put together to be. This is how you have to stay. We do welcome in our guest here on Voice of the Land, brought to you by Greeny Sports Cards. Of course, visit them, greenysportscards.com for all the information, their latest shows. Next one coming up in Kirtland, November 16th. But he is the director of Believe Land, director of War on the Diamond, both great documentaries, a lot of other great work that he has done. But he's just here to join the conversation. Andy Billman is our guest, fan of show. Andy, we've been talking Cavs to start. Just your thoughts on this team and how they've gotten off to this hot start and been reinvigorated by Kenny Atkinson.
It's a nice start.
It's all right.
No, well,
threw me off so bad.
It's nice. No, this team is doing what I was hoping they were going to do. For people who watch all the games, which I do all the time, Official Cleveland Sports on Instagram. There was a junction last year between January and about President's Day when the Cavs were playing like this, where they were playing really good passing basketball, moving the ball up and down the floor. And then something like an Adams family moment, then they just all went to shit. I would just say the thing about this team that I like is I see the long run. Yeah. We've seen teams in this town where it's they're hot, just what's a C. And I did feel that way last year. It's like they're hot. I don't know if they're going to do much in the playoffs. And the Cavs beat the Magic, so that was nice. This feels very different.
Right.
Atkinson's a really wonderful coach. This team has, it's like a good, this team has really simmered. I'm going to use a bad thing, but it's like a stew. It's like been simmering in the crock pot, and they're finally popping.
Sounds delicious.
Oh, it's very yummy. The big thing that there's nothing like a good stew and bread. But there's nothing. But going back to this though, the big thing to me is like the development. Garland last year, first 2 games, he wasn't very good. Since then, he's been wonderful. He has been, as I call him, Garland the Great. He clinches things late in the games. Mitchell does what he does. Obviously, a lot of people are talking about Mobley, and Mobley's a far different player this year. Sam Merrill's playing minutes because of defense. There's other things like not just shooting. Like George Niang, who everybody hated, is playing really great right now. We're actually seeing a player that does multiple things, not just shoot threes and get grumpy. Like he's doing things on the floor this year. Jared Allen is doing what Jared Allen does. In fact, if you look at his rebounding, it's actually about the top 10 in the league again. The thing, though, that excites me the most is as they're playing like complete ass tonight against the Sixers, by the way, and they're going to go down here 11 here in a second. Oh, gosh. This is so typical of Cleveland, right? We're talking about how good they are.
Yeah.
This is a Sixers team and no one beat George or Maxey. But the Cavs have long-term range. I just like how this team can go long-term. I guess another comparison to a team we love is the Guardians. If we're all giving a truth pill, even though how they lost was a complete faceplant, you got to catch the ball, Brian Rocchio, and I love you. You got to catch that ball, son. You catch that ball, Soto never hits that ball out, and maybe we have some more. That's for another podcast. Back to that. I feel like the Guardians, though, that's probably about as far as they can go. The Cavs, I can see this going far, and they are ready to go far. I think Mitchell is a star. I think Atkinson has a good way of pulling players where he needs to go. I'll compliment what he did on last night. There was a moment in the game where I called Ty Jerome tornado. Ty Jerome doesn't do things offensively. He's defense. He has like these moments where he crushes the team defensively. But there was a time in about 6-minute mark where you could tell he was about gassed. Atkinson calls timeout and switched him out. I love that. There's been a lot of these moments. It's like, there's only been one time where I'm like, what the fuck is this? Outside that, it's made a lot of sense. And we're 12 games in. Very, very good. Look, I came in trying to be funny. This is an excellent. What else could you ask for?
I'm just wondering if your hands got bruises from those claps, man. I love them every time, though.
My wife's a little like, Jesus, are they going to lose? Like, it's loud.
Like,
And then, like,
I'm trying to get some
kids.
sleep here, you know?
Oh, my God. When I get I will say this for someone who we all do multiple jobs, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to next week when the Cavs only play twice and I can do the other shit I got to do.
Yeah.
Wednesday. It's like, that's it. This said, though, I do want to make this point. As I heard this a lot, I don't agree with there's no national presence. I do see this on ESPN.com second level. Like, I am seeing stories about this, and been here long enough to know if they close out the Sixers, which they should, they beat the Bulls again. Bulls are improved, though. I like the Bulls. Actually, the Bulls would look very different this year with Donovan. Donovan's a good man, good coach. And then you got the Hornets, who are kind of whatever. That Boston game on TNT will have the national audience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I will be going to that game, and I want to see. I fucking hate Boston. Just to burn and light them up would be so much fun. And that is going to be a game where I think you will see, even if they lose, you're going to see the love that maybe some people aren't feeling. You're going to feel it with Barkley and Kenny and all those guys. Shaq, they will all give their love that night. So the love where this is going, we've been around sports too long. Injuries can change anything. Outside that, I mean, this has really got longevity. He uses 10 men. Strus is still hurt. I think Strus is going to be wonderful in the system.
Oh,
I think he
yeah.
really play well here. I don't know. I don't see a lot of downfall. The only thing I see is like a night like tonight where the Cavs finally, and they, by the way, 12 games in, they're finally playing like half effort. Tonight's been the first night I've seen all year where it's like, yeah,
I think a couple people are sick tonight too, and like we're almost not going to play. I saw, so they're probably just they have looked tired. I mean, I know they've had a grueling schedule when it comes to like
this has,
games in a row, back to back.
Like tonight has been coming.
Yeah.
You could
Yeah,
you
I
could
agree.
see it. Like you could see the heavy legs because it's great to get off to this fast start and everything. And people keep asking them to like overly celebrate the franchise record for best start and all of that. And it always felt like they were trying to deflect from it. Like, yeah, we'll enjoy it, but we got work to do. And I think whenever the streak comes to an end, and I'm not rooting for that to happen at all.
I'm not counting them out. So
But when it does, I
Happens
feel like
in June after we win the.
I
the
I
big
hope
one.
so. I was hoping for
Yeah,
your
what would
solar
that
eclipse
be?
thing.
Yeah, that'd be 82-16. So that'd be 98-0.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, almost 100 wins in a row that you would have
That's
to.
a century. It's all
Yeah.
I fucking have.
Yeah,
No, I think the Cavs have actually handled this really well. They're definitely deflecting off the streak, and they need to. But I do appreciate Atkinson's honesty. I could tell he's a good dude. After Saturday night, he goes, "Oh, is this how it's going to end?" You said that in the press conference. I go, "That's how I felt too." It's like, oh my god, we're going to lose to the Nets after the Warriors. Like, ugh. And then for Kenny to kind of admit that, it's like, oh, that's cool. So I mean,
It's
I hate
nice
to
when
do
a
this,
coach actually gives you something funny to listen to,
wow. So now,
unlike our other coach.
so.
yeah,
This is where we're going to talk about Cleveland sports. It's a shame because we are a football town, and basketball is really being played well.
For now,
And well,
I could see
I-
this town changing a football town, and Cavs win another one, Guardians win a World Series, and they continue to just keep doing what they do. Patience is going to run out. I think I'm canceling my season tickets. I'm using that money to go get Guardians and Cavs tickets now.
that doesn't surprise me because that is definitely a 2 to 3 year rebuild.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
And when you the talk shows talk about, I mean, today was nauseating. Today was the first day I actually got tired of it. Well, what's going to happen to Stefanski? What's going to happen to? It's like, shit. Are we already here? Oh my god!
Yeah.
Like it's like I don't want to talk about this for 8 weeks, and I actually would love to talk about a little bit about on the field, but you know what? It doesn't matter.
yeah.
And that's bad for the Browns. And I'll tell you what, this Brook Park timing, I think, is really weird around the whole thing. And I actually maybe one I would love a dome, okay, but why don't we have retractable? Cleveland's known for weather. Why can't we have weather? And I don't. And being from a different even Clevelander who lived in Connecticut, I've been to Foxborough. Foxborough's a hellhole at some point. And I don't not saying Brook Park's becoming that. Not saying that. But it has a lot of features where it's like it's kind of not in Cleveland and Brook Park, and it's kind of just there in the land, and people are like, oh, it'll be easy to get in and out of. Okay, I mean, we'll see. I don't know.
I think it's going to be a lot better, but I'm
really
I'm
like it
completely
too.
selfishly wanting that stadium big time.
same as
It
me.
has nothing to do with going to the games, but possibly working at the games and stuff. So, yeah,
Dome, yes, retractable dome. There's a lot of things that we hang on to. I'm telling you, we go to all these dome games. I will miss the weather. If you want to put a
I sit in the
retractable-
500s. I'm not going to miss the weather. I promise you. I'm done going home and having windburn on my face. I was a little,
Maybe I'm old man, dude. I want it. I want cold. I want to sit there and freeze my ass off because if we don't have anything else. What are we gonna do? Run out here strong in week 17? I mean,
we get to try out DTR. See if
Draft
he's
time,
a guy.
baby. Talk about the draft.
Yeah, we do have
I'm-
we get to go back to our Super Bowl and get a
Yeah.
first round pick.
I mean, we'll get WrestleMania 30, whatever they're on. I mean, I like that. I love the idea of getting a Final Four and stuff too. And I'm downplaying it. That's gonna be great. But
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I don't think it's as smooth as people think. I wish there was a way they can do it in downtown. In fact, I think there is, but that's for a different show. But all that to be said, all of this going on with the Browns, it's clunky. It's not sexy. I mean, again, like even DTR. Are you guys looking for DTR? It's like,
I
Not
don't
really.
understand where that conversation is coming from, Andy. We got to see what we have. It's a 5th round pick, and I've kind of seen what I need to see from him. You need.
I've seen what I need to see from Winston.
Yeah.
I mean, truthfully, it's like I got in some weird argument with somebody in a different podcast. Like, DTR wins. Who gives a fuck? I mean, what are we gonna argue? Like I don't see much of like a difference. Where's Flacco? Like I mean, I just don't understand
Benched.
the Brown. Well, yeah, that was by the way. That's a anybody's
Bad
watching.
calling, yeah.
They don't know what they're doing over there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Indianapolis is
Well,
messing
yeah.
that whole thing
I,
up.
I would actually tell Flacco, don't enjoy that hot tub. You're gonna be playing soon, brother.
Yeah.
It's not
Right.
gonna be
Yeah.
long before you're back in those games.
I mean,
I'm
if the
back.
Browns are going to do anything to ever turn this around, they have to draft another quarterback next year. That's the only way, and they have to hit him, and he has to be amazing. And if not, you're just going to be spinning your wheels again next year until you
The only-
find that quarterback.
Yeah, I actually would advise them to watch what the Giants did with LT and say, why can't we get more Myles Garrett in the press? Why can't we feel Myles Garrett? He's an owner of the Cavs. Like, let's feel his presence. Like, it's so weird. Like in this season of ours, Myles Garrett, he's just like he's having a good season, but you don't know it. It's just like he's just kind of here, and it's like that's a shame.
Yeah.
Like,
Especially
the
for
Browns-
reigning defensive player of the year too.
I know. It's like you wouldn't know it here.
Right.
It's like you just would not know it. It's like that's where I get bothered. It's like we have nothing here. It's like we have Myles Garrett. Trumping him out there. Like sexify that. And that guy wants to be sexified. Put him out in the press. Put him out there.
Yeah.
Sell that dude. Get him out there. He's a funny guy. I like Myles Garrett. I like hearing him talk.
And
They
it's
Yeah,
easy
sold,
to,
they sold the wrong guy.
Wow.
And the guy who split up the fan base had a shaky background and frankly just sucked on the field. And they just kept pushing this dude on us, pushing Watson on us, and it just blew up in their faces.
Should be a
And
fireable
that's why
offense.
you keep hearing, why is Stefanski the guy? Is Barry gone? Is this guy gone? You know who started all this? The second whoever made that move to get Deshaun Watson, all this is on him. If it's the owner, if it's Barry talking the owner into doing it, if it's DePodesta talking Barry into do it, I don't know, but someone's got to be held accountable for that move.
I'm good with DePodesta, by the way. He can go.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, I am so
Hey,
done.
I'm good.
You know, like,
Take care.
you know this by better than
happened years ago.
DePodesta literally took someone else's book, got famous off of using someone else's strategy, didn't win the World Series, pretty much messed up baseball a little bit with that stuff. And then they're like, oh, he didn't win it in baseball, but maybe it'll work in football.
Well, Jonah Hill,
Who-
bro.
Like, dude,
By the way, are you gonna be based in Cleveland, DePodesta? Nah.
San Diego.
What's up? I'm in California.
What a tool.
Full job. How
Gosh.
is that
He's got some dirt on somebody for sure.
Yes,
So,
that's what-
geez.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Like I just would love to be like,
he knows
you-
what really happened at Pilot Flying J.
He knows where Jimmy Hoffa is.
Mm.
well, that. Okay, let's bring that in into the room. The Haslams are going down this. So okay, in this area, Woody Johnson's getting a lot of heat for Jets fans. Haslams, I'm telling you, it doesn't feel too different. It's like we do things weird when we make the playoffs. We don't celebrate it. It just gets. I mean, even that. Like, I just feel like the Haslams have to stop micromanaging. I almost want to tell them, like, go do your Columbus Crew crap, go whatever you got to do with the Bucks, and leave this alone. And why don't you hire people and just let it be?
You know why the
Well,
Columbus
like,
Crew are good? Because they're not all up in their business messing around.
Right,
with
they're-
stuff. That's why they're
Yeah,
good.
they're out of that. The only time
That's
they show up
Kevin's
is-
team. Don't mess them up, man.
It's
Kevin
like
won't
they
have
need
it.
a bunch of cats. Like,
They-
buy them cats, get them distracted. Like, just buy something. Just get the Haslams. Like, they've got to stop focusing on this team. It's
Yeah.
so evident when you hear them talk. It's like, well, it's a collaborative process. It's like, well, that means Haslams are probably there.
Yeah.
And from what I'm saying on KNR, it sounds like D Haslam's in the room. Fine. But it's like you can't micromanage this stuff. Like, at some point, you got to let these things go.
Great leaders put people in the right positions to make good decisions, and they're cocky billionaires, man. And I hope they don't watch this.
But I
'Cause
don't
I'm planning
trust
on
the
working
people
for
who
them, but
are-
you know,
I don't trust the people who are in the
Well,
position to make
I
the
would-
decisions. So I
yeah.
don't know.
Like I'm
I
sorry.
have to talk to them. Look, hey, Jimmy, hey, Dean. Andy
Oh, we
down
went
there.
through like, and then we
Look,
go through all of
nice
Andrew
people.
Barry's moves and all the draft picks this
Yeah.
dude made. He's done nothing but live off John Dorsey's great picks and had a couple okay ones. And just everyone's like, oh, we got Amari Cooper for a 3rd round pick, but then you got
He's not here.
You got
Elijah
Elijah
Moore
Les for a
second,
second
yeah.
round pick, and then you got Jerry Judy. You re-signed him to a big deal, even though he didn't do anything.
Oh,
Like,
Judy's great.
Jed
great for
Wills
a
sucks
Dad.
and is a waste
Yeah.
of a draft pick.
Oh yeah,
Should've
Jedrick
been-
Wills. He made
Why
business
not?
decisions, and the season's just a poop
It's
sandwich
dreadful.
again.
It's just poop. It's hot on fire shit. And what's awful is these games are dreadful.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
San Diego Charger game, third quarter, my son, God bless him, goes, "This is so boring."
I was at that
I'm
game. I almost fell asleep. So
I actually fell asleep. I'm pretty sure during that game.
Oh. I didn't
my
even
God.
watch. I don't like put myself through this. Like,
I watch it play. I want to see this whole thing.
yeah.
I am here to watch football. And what's bizarre to me is how you can sit there if you're micromanaging saying, "Well, that worked out." It's like nothing looks good. And who approved Pierre Strong? He sucks. Like, who's approving these players?
You really
Like,
don't
right
like Pierre
now-
Strong, do you?
No. You want Pierre Strong in a big spot? Come on, Positive J. Come on. Be strong. It's like, oh God. I mean, every time it comes in a game, I'm like,
And then
bad.
you have Kareem Hunt, what he's doing in Kansas City right
Oh.
now.
Didn't need him.
When they say, "Oh, he's washed, he's done,
Too
he's not,"
good.
yeah, insane.
Here's
It's-
another
it just-
bad move.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what Baker leads the league in touchdowns. We didn't need him.
okay, now.
Then you got one guy getting yelled at and benched because he's making business decisions about his body in a contract deal.
He's a
and then
wuss, dude. I'm
no, he
tired of
sucked,
him.
don't get me
He's
wrong.
a pansy.
But
Sorry.
then the guy who actually went out there and stuck it out on his contract year, played and put the team above himself, clearly was hurt and not playing well from it. It was as obvious as your eyes can see. And then they're like, "You know what, buddy? Thanks for torturing your body all year. We'll see you later. We're going to go get this dude with 23 accounts of whatever the hell it was." And yeah, great move. Fantastic
flip-
move.
So I'll flip it. Is that Stefanski's fault? He couldn't get Watson to work. He couldn't get Baker to work. Is that on Stefanski? Might be. I mean, that hasn't worked now with either quarterback here.
And here's
You see-
I've been defending Stefanski, and I've lately kind of flipping on him too. It's like, you know what? I think just because we're Browns fans, we're like, we like Stefanski,
No,
he
he
scores
can
points.
go.
Like, no, most coaches actually can score points like that. That's not an uncommon thing. It's the uncommon to not score points in the NFL. They are literally making the rules easier and easier to score points, and yet the Browns continue to suck at scoring
It's
points.
because he cannot make in-game adjustments.
And-
I've been saying this for years.
Oh,
His
that-
his first
yeah.
scripted drive is usually successful unless there's a pick or something, error by the quarterback. But after that, after the first scripted play, after there's some sort of adversity, he cannot adapt to it, and that's the problem.
and no
he sucks.
discipline on this team at all.
Exactly.
And that is a
Wow.
direct reflection.
And I've been
of your
saying that for
coaching.
years. I want Stefanski out of here. He's not a good coach.
guys, I
It
wanted
feels
Kevin's
like
got
a
something.
total fun.
I wanted to have some fun with the Cavs tonight. I don't know how I let the
It's
let the
fucking
show
low
get here.
right now.
The
They're not
angers.
about the Browns. I mean, they're down 4 points.
I'm ready for the draft.
I mean, we got the
Oh.
Buckeyes are still doing
I'm
good.
excited.
Well, the Buckeyes are very good, and what's great is college football. And I know everybody says it, but you got to. Is the playoffs gonna be wild?
It's gonna be so fun.
Now,
Yeah.
Dude,
absolutely wild.
There's no superpower. There's
No,
not even
no.
like
There's
they're
no
all-
dominant team this year. And
Done.
if you want to say Oregon because they're ranked number 1, they're undefeated, they've had their lapses this year too. And
We were a slide away from beating them anyway.
Right.
So
At their house,
2
so-
seconds. Like,
Ohio
that's all we needed.
State lost by 1 to the number 1 team in Eugene, Oregon, because Ohio State beat Ohio State. Oregon put themselves in a good position because Denzel Burke forgot how to cover guys that game.
Right.
That's true too.
Well, at the
Here's my-
end,
It cost
Also-
himself money in that game.
Wasn't there some controversy where the coach did something with the time where
Well, he put a 12th guy out there,
Right,
and
right.
because he knew that when the flag, like if they noticed, then they threw a flag for it. The original, like the other play, was still going to count, and the time on the clock does not go back to where it was
Right,
that's some
before.
chess.
If we would
By the
have,
way, give him credit. Smart. That's
Yeah.
smart.
yeah, and then they changed the rule
that's
after
like a
that.
once in a lifetime opportunity and he executed. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So
That's a-
like all those different
Dan Lannon being
factors,
smarter than
yeah,
Ryan Day. Ryan Day is for
terrible.
me. Ryan Day's on the hotter seat than Kevin Stefanski is.
I think they're
I
both gone.
agree. I
Like,
agree. I mean,
and
there's a lot of loss on that game on Day. I mean, I hear what you guys are saying. You're right, but Howard did slide.
Yeah.
Clock did run. And it's like, God, like you can't even get that play right.
mhm.
The Buckeyes pressure is immense. With that said, they're right in it.
Yep.
And I will also throw in there because of what I saw last week, and I think a second loss, Buckeyes probably still get in.
What do you
So
guys
everything-
What do you
Sure.
guys make of Ohio, like playing in a baseball stadium, playing a football game in a baseball stadium, especially like an old school
Yeah.
baseball stadium that's very cramped, like Wrigley Field,
Yeah.
like Ohio State will do this week?
I think it's cool. Why not?
Yeah, I was
Opportunity.
gonna say I
you
get
know?
it. If I'm Northwestern can't do anything, so why not?
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
It's like
I
the old
mean-
Browns games at Municipal Stadium.
Yeah,
That's what I was about to say.
yeah.
yeah.
Or,
I mean,
Oakland.
Right.
actually, it makes it. The only thing I don't. Okay, one more topic on the Buckeyes that I gotta get off. I am tired of these noon games.
Yeah.
I mean, they gotta put them on prime time. If I am the Big Ten, I am not thrilled. that
Kevin.
there's another-
Tell them why you love the noon games. Don't you work the pregame?
Oh, I work the pregame, so yes, like my
So he
work
gets
day.
to get to go home
my,
earlier.
my work day's done early, but like, all right, like that doesn't matter to me. Like as
I
a
know, but-
father, it does, and as a husband, it does. But
I agree with you about that, right?
I
But-
actually love noon games. I love Browns at 1 and Buckeyes at noon.
But
That's what I love.
here's-
Really?
Yep.
That's interesting.
here's the biggest issue. Like I get last week Purdue, this week Northwestern. I get those being noon games. Really, it's 11 o'clock in Chicago because they're an hour behind. But the Indiana game, like, why are we allowing Fox to have that much control when you were touting the Big Ten to be on Peacock and now CBS taking over for the SEC, the prime spot of the SEC at that 3:30 time? So, like, there's a lot of people that have an issue with like every single noon game. I don't have that issue, but
don't
this
do it.
Indiana game, that should have been a 3:30 on CBS or a 7:30 on Peacock, because like that is what this season, the storyline now of these two teams colliding to try to get to the Big Ten championship game. Those are games that you put in a more prime slot where more people are now watching. Like this week, it's at noon on Big Ten Network, and then the following week we get Gus Johnson. Whether he's going to call that game, and actually give energy or not,
Right.
I
What
don't
the
know.
heck was
Like
that?
Yeah, touchdown.
Like,
on
I-
That was
Thursdays.
weird. That was
Good
weird.
job.
I've never seen him do that
guys.
before.
yeah, like I respect the hell out of Gus Johnson.
I thought it was
He
the
had a
guy from the
bad day.
Clear Eyes commercials calling the games. Like,
Ben Stein.
Ben Stein.
yeah, Ben Stein here, touchdown.
Yeah, that was.
Buckeyes.
Yeah, I mean, like that was weird too.
I don't know what happened.
Penn State game, Indiana game, prime time.
Yeah,
Prime time. And this is now a big business than NIL. You want to raise more money? You get to put these games in the big spotlight. That's what kids want. I'm
Mhm.
telling you, it's first of Ohio State. I mean, all these noon games. Like I'm with you. You want to put 6 or 7 on noon? Fine, I don't care. Michigan at noon, I get it. It's like
yeah,
it's-
that one I
it's-
get because that's like
I-
tradition at this point.
I get it. But you got to put Penn State, Indiana on at prime time.
Yeah.
Prime time.
And the fact that you get to like decide and figure out the times as the season goes, so then you allow for an upstart story like Indiana to give them an opportunity to get more spotlighted games, and then you still, you still sell it to the
Agreed.
noon time slot. That's where you lose me. I know Joel Klatt, who is gonna forget more football than I'll ever know. Like that dude, I can listen to talk football almost all day long. Like he's trying to defend it, and there's, to a certain extent, there are certain games where that noontime slot matter, and you want in a big noon kickoff, if you're going to tout it as that, you're going to have bigger matchups at times. But every single time, that just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't fit the mold. And
It's
yeah,
not many eyeballs. Indiana's more of a darling right now.
yeah.
Sorry.
And
True.
guess what?
Michigan's more of a darling.
Who is the whole country going to be rooting for on that Saturday when Ohio State plays Indiana? Outside of
Well,
Ohio.
That's different because they're the ultimate underdog and they've never been
Yeah.
in a spot. That's different. But I'll tell you again, like there are kids that watch this stuff. There's probably more kids this year who know more about Michigan. They're on 3:30 on CBS a lot.
Yeah.
SC, they're on these other games, and it's like,
And they're 500.
yeah, and like that's the other one too. It's like, see, the Big Ten always messes this shit up. They've got the hammer and be like, hey, next year, big games, CBS 3:30 or at night.
Yeah.
That's it. Cannot have this big noon stuff. And if they're going to do Fox wants the big games, fine. Doesn't always have to be at noon. Get a new slogan.
Yeah.
Get over it.
That should be like the big non-conference ones to start the year. Like there could be random ones to
Yeah.
start the year, and then as you go. Like they've done Big 12 and everything. Like there's games in the Big 12 where those teams aren't as good as the other top teams, but they're still bigger matchups that people are going to watch. Do those. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me, but it has been good to see the Ohio State team.
They're very good.
You know, they are very good. They just need to get out of their own way.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan Day can't have that Cooper shadow. Like John Cooper, and it's there. It's there.
Right.
He cannot have that shadow. I mean, that Michigan game's everything, and I don't know why. I don't think the Buckeyes are gonna have much trouble with the Hoosiers after watching them.
I think we're gonna cream them.
I do too.
Yeah.
Michigan's different. I think Michigan's gonna be a needler, but
I disagree. I think we're gonna cream them
because they come in with winning 3 straight and they have that confidence, and it's like that's the game that makes your year.
I think it depends on our corners.
I'm not saying like I'm picking them to to be close or whatever, but you still
Ohio
have
State, Michigan. It's a close game.
Yeah, you still have to be realistic
game.
and think like this is, you can't just overlook it because of where their record is. That game, they're going to come in with no fear, no pressure, nothing at all. And that's where you get dangerous. And you, like Ryan Day knows, where's the pressure at? You got to win the game.
Yep.
You got to win. You got to beat that team up north. And if you don't, what's going to happen? So the guy that we've seen at times when you see the pressure hitting him and freaking out on the sideline unnecessarily, that is where the Ohio State Buckeyes run into trouble when Ryan Day starts doing too much. What has Kevin Stefanski done? Done too much. What has Kenny Atkinson and Stephen Vogt done? They've brought a bunch of guys that know what they're doing. They allow their assistant coaches to coach. Stephen Vogt just said that when they made the announcement of some of the coaching changes and promotions today. He said, what made us so successful was actually my inexperience, because it made it easier for me to delegate to the guys that knew what they were doing. Carl Willis is a pitching coach,
right.
Chris Valleca as the hitting coach, my bench coach, and all of these guys. Like, I just allowed them to do what they know how to do, and it let me manage. Kenny Atkinson is allowing his players and his coaching staff to coach. He is running the team and trying to keep them in a position to contend this season. Don't do too much.
I agree. Again, these very analytical minds. I think Ryan Day does get in his way at times. And again, he's had some bizarre things like that slide. It was bad. I mean, you can't slide. I mean, that whole thing was bad.
Yeah,
you can't have that in those situations. The one thing I'll say though, going back to the Buckeyes, I was teasing with the choking thing, but it will get tight. I think that game will get tight, and I'm telling you, my experience in that spot, I think the Buckeyes, I think they'll win. I think it's gonna be tight. I think that's gonna be a tight game.
If there's any year that they're gonna win, it's this year. So I mean, this is do or die for Ryan Day. I mean, I think if he would have lost,
he loses, he's out.
If he would have lost at Penn State, he was out. So I think his seat is incredibly hot. And it's interesting. You got Vrabel lurking right now with 2 possible positions opening in Cleveland or in Columbus. I think that could be.
I don't know why. I'm not on the Vrabel thing thinking he's gonna. I don't know why. I'm not like, I know that Grossi touts a lot the Vrabel thing. I don't know why. I'm not feeling that yet. Like, maybe it'll happen, but I'm not feeling like that's a thing. I don't know.
For where, Ohio State or for Cleveland?
I think Ohio State's. I don't see him coaching college. I really don't.
Really?
But
I do.
I think Vrabel and Cleveland, sure, but you just don't get that vibe. Like, you don't get that vibe Vrabel wants. Like, I'm not saying he doesn't want it, but you just don't. I don't know. At times you kind of feel these things. It's like, I don't know. I'm not really feeling that story.
I think he's just waiting. I think he's just. I don't think he's committal right now. I think he's waiting to see what happens. So
I think he's doing exactly what Kenny Atkins did last year. He's like, he was offered jobs. He didn't. It was like, I don't want those ones. I'll just wait and I'll stay here. And then he came. Then this one opened up. He's like, yeah, I'll take that job with.
He'll be a coach somewhere, probably next year.
Yeah.
I don't know
Vrabel's
where.
going to be a head coach.
Yeah.
I do agree with you about that.
All right, here's one for you guys. Change it all up. Who's going to win this weekend in this big expedition fight with
Jake
the
Paul,
local
Mike
kid
Tyson.
and Mike Tyson? I'm sorry, I can't stand Jake Paul. I find him highly annoying. Is he good at what he does with promotions? Sure the hell is. I hope he gets knocked the knock the hell out. Dude.
It's rigged regardless. I think. I don't think
Yeah.
it's real.
I don't think this
But
is
if it's not rigged, Mike Tyson is going to destroy this boy.
because I
So,
think Mike
mean,
Tyson is so prideful in his
See,
I love Mike Tyson.
being Mike Tyson. I
See-
think he wants to beat him up.
this would be the most Mike Tyson moment, of the new generations that are out there that never got a chance to see Mike Tyson or weren't taught who Mike Tyson was and how powerful, how dangerous he was as a boxer. This thing might be rigged, and he will just go way off script and just do what he wants to do.
Yeah. They might have it pre-scripted, like, all right, this is what's going to happen. He's like,
This
oh,
is
yeah,
what
sure,
they've been
sure.
talking about.
Ding.
Mike,
Dun, 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 and he's going to go and treat that dude like little Mac.
Mike
in
Tyson
2
got his
hits and
money.
he's
Now he
out.
wants to go beat somebody up and prove that he's still powerful at 58 years old. I can see Mike Tyson not allowing, if it is scripted, to allow that script to happen. Like, he'd probably say leave that to the WWE. Now, I actually love that kind of stuff, but that's a different element and a different form of entertainment.
That's Logan Paul. Yeah.
I mean, I
He
guess
sucks too.
Yeah. I mean, I hope Tyson wins, but I've been around Tyson. I met Tyson. Big scary dude.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and I wish they called him. I was in the elevator with him one time in LA for the ESPYs. And let's say Mike had one too many that night. And he was just breathing hard. And I remember just breathing made me nervous.
Man, his breathing knocked me out. He turns and
as soon as the
sneezes and
elevator
it's
opened-
done.
Oh my gosh. As soon
I
as
mean,
the
I
elevator
still have Mike Tyson's punch out and the original NCS, and I'll bust it out once in a while. I still can't beat him, and I've looked it up how to do it on YouTube, and he still beats me.
Yeah.
But I would love to meet him. Like, honest to God, like he's done some crazy things in his life. But like, dude, I'm a child of the '80s. I cried when Buster Douglas beat him. They woke me up.
Really?
Like, oh, I was like 6 years old, and Mike Tyson back then, you know how he was bigger than life. Like
everything.
he was everything.
Everything.
Like he was the
Mhm.
biggest thing in sports. And when he lost, I just cried. I remember I was like 6, 7 years old. I'm like, no, not Iron Mike.
It was
And then all the
shocking.
stuff came out with him, and you're like, yeah, no, whatever, Iron Mike.
I was 10 when that happened. It was
Mhm.
shocking.
Oh yeah, it was,
Like,
everyone was shocked.
Like, people talk about the biggest upsets. That is one of them.
Yeah.
But James Buster Douglas from Columbus, Ohio, winning that in Japan, and that was the other thing. It's like in the middle of the night.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
all
why I
that
didn't see it.
stuff
They
that,
told me in the
like-
morning. But his
Yeah.
fights were just, dude, he was so awesome. He was
Very, very
a fury, man. He's
Yeah,
probably the
there's-
last time boxing was really, truly relevant, to be honest.
Bo Holyfield was great.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
used to, when I was growing up in high school, we always used to talk about that stuff. And people should watch too, like the middleweights of the '80s with Sugar Ray and Hagler, Hearns. All those stuff was great. But I'm a big boxing guy. I'm not a UFC guy.
Dude,
I love boxing.
I'd rather
and I-
watch boxing than I would UFC, but I will
Yeah.
think, like, I was having a conversation on Twitter, and I think it was Ken Carmen, was saying how he thinks like people after the ear bite, like a lot of people got away from boxing. I'm like, I don't think the ear bite is what made people shy away.
Mhm.
I think it was UFC. I think more people just went to the
Wow.
UFC and were like, this is way better
Where-
than boxing. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's
I
all
don't know.
about promoting the fights and
Mhm.
where
That's-
did more
that's-
efforts start to go? It started to go to UFC and even predetermined entertainment in WWE pro wrestling. Like, that has gotten more of the promotion than boxing has, and we haven't seen those guys that used to promote boxing, those big time names. We haven't seen that type of guy like Paul Heyman in WWE. He can go anywhere and promote the hell out of his guy or whatever event WWE has, and he resonates an audience. You can have Dana White on any sort of television thing. He resonates an audience. There isn't that guy in the boxing
Don
world
King
to
was
do
him.
that.
Jake
Yeah,
Paul is
Don,
the guy
Don
that's doing
King
that right now.
was that guy.
yeah.
Maybe
And
Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah, there was a bizarre moment in the mid '90s when Bo Thruway won the championships, and when that moment happened, there's the three belts were united forever, and then when Bo threw it away, that whole thing started this whole weird thing, and from there, like the Ultimate Fighting really started happening in '97, '96. It still wasn't cutthroat, but
Mhm.
I thought you hit the great point there. Don King was the man, and Bob Arum. Those guys kind of stepped back after that, and Dana White just took off,
Oh, who's the
and
guy?
that's that.
One of the most famous sportscasters. I'm drawing a blank. Him and Ali were so great friends.
I don't know.
Lampley.
No, he always interviewed Ali, and
Dick Shep.
Nope, he doesn't.
He's-
Monday Night Football.
Oh, Al Michaels.
No. Oh man, it's gonna drive me nuts. I hate when I do this on the show. I think of a great idea and then I'm like, I can't think of the name. And
Well, on that note, yes, there is a big UFC fight as well, though. I know we're saying we're not that into,
Yeah.
it, but I mean, Stipe
this is the only one I think most Clevelanders really still care about. It.
I don't know what Stipe has though. He's been
When
out
we
of
met
it.
him, that was the first time I met Andy. He was with Stipe.
Mhm.
Oh my God, right? I remember that. By the way, Don King, Clevelander.
Yeah.
Stipe was riding around on a motorized cooler, handing pizzas
Oh.
around in Cleveland. I swear to God,
That's
it was
funny.
it was awesome. He
Yeah.
had
Yes,
his pizzas in hand, yeah,
right.
and he just going around. He's like, "I'll be right back," and he'd take his Romeo's pizzas, like, "Hey," on the street, just handing out pizzas to people. I'm like, dude, you are just the best, man.
But if that dude comes out of semi-retirement, he hasn't fought since 2021. If he beats John Jones for the heavyweight title in UFC, that's your go to the heavyweights in UFC.
Yeah.
Like he's defended it more times than anybody in history, but he still doesn't get the respect he deserves for how long he held that title. And in the fight game, if he can beat John Jones, I'm being realistic. I don't know what he has. Like, I'm interested to see like what he actually, and I'll watch it like on
He's
on
from
highlights
Cleveland.
and stuff.
He's got heart. That's all you
He
need.
definitely has heart. John
He
Jones.
fights fires.
John Jones
is
has got some
nothing.
different stuff in his system. I'm not going there.
Yeah.
Stipe is definitely a Clevelander. That's all I'll
Yeah.
say. He's
Yeah.
definitely a Clevelander.
Yeah.
Like Positive J's point when he was. I forgot about all that. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a weird game. By the way, the Browns won that game against the Bengals. That was all weird.
That,
But anyway,
dude, that whole night was weird. I'm not going to tell
that was weird.
the story of the people with their horrible tailgate
Um,
coming up to
That
us.
was weird. Well,
Uh,
to bring it full circle, I really hope this town gets back to the Cavs. I really think the Cavs
Mhm.
deserve much more attention
Yep.
than what it gets. And locally, not just nationally, locally.
Oh,
It's
I know
really-
you know what show I'm
Wonderful
talking about.
talk.
I may have called said host out and be like, you need to talk about him more yourself, not nationally. So to
Yeah.
right to him. No names,
it's
please.
true. Yeah, I mean,
Kevin's like,
All right. Don't,
Yeah.
let's not get me in trouble here. all
hey,
right?
he didn't say anything. These views are all always positive Jay's views.
Yes. The views
Hey,
of
I'm
this,
the
the Voice of the
president
Land
of-
do not
you know?
reflect the reviews of ESPN, Cleveland, WKNR, Good Karma Brands, or I feel like I should put that PSA out there every time. But
Andy's just hiding now. He's
Andy-
all
But-
incognito.
they are very good, and there's a lot to talk about here.
Oh yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
building up. I mean, now they've closed the game down to 1. Real quickly for you guys, do you find gambling has helped with sports today, or is it indifferent? It hasn't really made a dent. Because I can't get a vibe on if it's brought more sports fans in or not. It's obviously brought more chatter. I
yeah,
don't feel like it's brought more sports fans in.
I actually
thought
think
it
it's brought good sports chatter down. I
mhm.
can't. I personally, I hate betting talk. I don't care
fair.
about anybody's parlay, just like I don't care about your fantasy
That's
football
a good
team.
point.
Like I don't care. And I gotta. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I've been trying to get a whole segment gone, but it's sponsored and I can't. So I'm like, dude, I'm so bored. I just turn it off. Like I can't stand betting segments. If you're into it, I mean, betting shows should have
Voice
about-
of
be
Land
about-
is open to any sort of partner.
sure.
I love gambling. I'm doing a gambling show right now,
I
and
don't
it's
know.
great. And I
That's what I'm
love
saying.
talking about
Gambling shows are good for gambling.
Yeah.
I think when you're talking sports and you're bringing in like, if you're using it like, oh, how do you think the chances are against him? Well, Vegas has got him fair. That's cool. I do like that
Yeah.
app. But when people are just getting into their parlays and I'm like, dude, I want to hear about the
Yeah.
Cavs. Yeah, it bogs it down, I think,
Yeah.
sometimes.
to your point, it feels like there's a lot of guys with unnecessary hair gel talking about things where it's like, I just get to the meats of the game. That said, I've started to watch organically. I didn't find it on purpose. I just found it. The VSiN Sunday show's good.
Mhm.
I will say that.
I've
Like
heard
I do-
VSiN Network is pretty good with
Yeah.
all that kind of
yeah,
stuff.
I'm starting to listen to it more and more. I will say that show's slick, but it reminds me of CNBC. I don't know how much you can do, but you
Yeah,
can do an hour, for sure. I will say I think that's what gambling's missing is that emotion connection. Because you're right, APJ, you're right. There's a lot of times I'm like, parlay, I don't care.
Yeah.
I didn't win.
Everyone
What
tells
was it?
you they're winning parlays. No one tells you they're losing parlays. The 12
No.
losses before their
No.
big win.
right. And
No.
I mean, I wouldn't be able to get a pulse for either because I don't I don't do that. It's not
Yeah.
because like I have anything against it.
I don't
just,
like losing money. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't
It's
do
the
it.
same thing. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, I was always taught, you protect those stacks. You let them build. You don't give those away for anything.
I mean, bet what you can bet. And like a lot of people say that pizza money where you're going like 5 or like even like a $1 bet, a $2 bet. But I don't understand it enough. I don't get into it enough. And
It's fascinating.
my family's growing.
I
gotta
just like it. I don't know.
You
You
what?
do?
I think it compromises the integrity of the game.
Agreed. That's
I
also
just-
a lot of
that
people think
is-
I just-
with all
I
this
just
bad
like it.
officiating going on.
Watch the Chiefs. I don't know, man. I don't think it's. I don't like it at all.
There's a show for you. That's a-
Well, that's a documentary. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of that, and that's not just recent, that's years ago.
Right.
Vegas
for-
didn't get built because they lose. Vegas always
Well,
wins. They got
Mhm.
all those fancy buildings and that big 3D dome now and stuff. You know how they built that?
Hmm.
Off people's parlays. That's how they built it.
In the NFL is an entertainment industry. They said it. I mean, I'm not a conspiracy. Well, I don't know. Maybe I am a little bit, but
I love
that's a different talk.
conspiracy
Yeah,
theories.
that's
nonetheless,
That's
I
a
mean,
different show.
it
at a
definitely
different
makes
time.
me question the integrity of the game now. So
Well, Andy, we really appreciate it. Really appreciate you jumping in. Like this wasn't an interview. This isn't about that.
Yeah,
Like,
you got
do
anything
you
you're
have
doing?
anything coming up? Like I feel like I should have asked you that much sooner. But do you have
I do.
anything that you got on the
I do.
horizon?
I do. I will actually be in Dallas, Texas
nice.
at the beginning of the month. I am following a guy who is no longer with us, who's trying to get in the Baseball Hall of Fame. His name is Dick Allen, and I'll be with him and his family. Dick Allen's a true character of the sport, and I'll be with his family seeing for the third time if he can get in the Hall of Fame. He was the MVP in '72 for the White Sox. He was the Rookie of the Year in '64 for the Phillies. He's one of those weird guys that's on the cusp of getting in the Hall of Fame but hasn't quite
Like
made it.
he's their Clay Matthews.
Well, I'd even say right, or even a better comparison. Bell and Allen are pretty similar
Yeah.
stories.
Ooh.
Allen's a true character of the game. One of his famous moments is he was juggling baseballs in the dugout while smoking a cigarette.
Nice.
It was on Illustrated cover. It's a great cover. And he was a great player, but he's a blue collar guy. He went to go drink after the game. He bet horses. He hung around bars. He played pool. Like that's what his lifestyle was. Next morning, he would get up. He would drink a pint of beer, hit the ball in the park, and go home.
Nice.
I mean, that's just who he was. And so because of that, I think his career kind of gets tainted. But I love characters like that. I
Oh
think
yeah.
it's okay to be a character like that in life, and I kind of like that.
I'm not a big fan of the people in charge of the Hall of Fame. I'll put it that way.
Oh, well, that's a different. Well, there's
I was there a
Yeah.
couple of
Listen.
years ago with my dad, and I literally was complaining about it right there. I'm like, y'all are doing this wrong.
All right. So here's the plan. When we get to the point of the Browns off season where we're just done with all of that, we've talked too much about who we're drafting and who we're getting here or there or whatever it might be. We got a list of shows already. Like, do we have a whole thing on? We got conspiracy theories with Ryan. We got the Baseball Hall of Fame.
I'm Mr.
the
Draft.
voters.
Too, so.
We got like a bunch of shows lined up when we don't want to talk and don't need to talk about the Browns and their dysfunction. That's for sure.
well, yeah. I mean, here's the cherry on top. 25 years back from the move, and we're still in the same spot.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed,
And
and that is
I'm 33, Andy, and like that's all I've like in my comprehension of sports. Like when I first, like at the age I could actually start really comprehending what I was seeing, that's when they came back, and I was taught to be a Browns fan. I was raised to be a Browns fan. I will never be a fan of another team. I'm not ever going to change. I'm just not putting myself through it every Sunday right now, which is easy when you have a son that wants to watch every little kid thing on YouTube and all that kind of stuff. It makes it easy to say, oh, I wasn't able to catch the game. My kid controlled the TV. I'm still going to be a diehard Browns fan, but this,
I still
like
think
suck
even if
is
they were
all
good,
I've-
you might want to watch Bluey over the Browns, though.
what?
Even if the Browns were good, you might want to watch Bluey over
No,
the
if the Browns were good, no, because
I don't
Jana
believe
doesn't
that.
want to do that. I don't
See,
want
I'm
to do that.
not. I'm not sadistic fan. I watch every play.
Yep. Me
I
too.
gotta watch it.
I watch
I'm
them
gonna get
twice.
passion.
Okay, I got issues.
I will watch. And by the way, I'll watch when the Indians were bad in the '80s. I watched every game. When the
Yeah.
Cavs were bad, in between LeBron, God, I watched all those
Well,
miserable. games. So
Clevelanders, we like our pain.
that's what I said. Like I gotta put up with it. But I understand what you're saying. I'll just say this again: the Browns have 25 years later, it just hasn't changed.
Yeah,
We're
suck
gonna
is
have a
all
new
I've known.
house. That's it. So.
Hey.
Suck is all I've known.
Where do we live? Believe land.
Of course. Well, of course. I mean, look, I'm not.
That's why we
here-
keep watching. So we
yeah,
can
I mean,
torture
it's like-
ourselves.
I remember I talked to someone. They go, he was a Giants fan. By the way, Giants are terrible too in football. But he was asking me, he goes, when did you know? I'm like, the preseason was really bad. But of course, I drank the Kool-Aid. I was like, we'll be
Mhm.
fine. And
Yeah.
he goes, when did it hit you? I'm like, it doesn't really hit you. As he keeps saying, like, even this week, I'll get duped by 12:59. All right, let's see if we can beat the Saints.
The sad part is,
there.
I knew before the season, before preseason and all that, because of just one story about Deshaun going on vacation when we were still playing. He said he went to go heal and he went on a vacation. And Njoku played with a burnt face that same week. Team did not like it. Heard that story. Won't say who I heard it from, but a pretty damn reliable source. And I'm like, this dude ain't it. That's why I just knew. I'm like, he's not him. He's putting himself above the team, and you ain't gonna win with players like that.
Well, and he sucks. So
Well, yeah.
I mean,
If that's true, that makes a lot of sense.
Oh, it's true. It just
It's
didn't get
damn
out
true.
there. It's
I'm
very
hoping that
true.
we lose every game.
Nobody
and
got
get
that
a high
Kurt
draft
Angle
pick,
reference.
So
Nobody got the Kurt Angle reference.
Oh,
You
no.
said it's
No.
true, and his line was always, "It's true, it's damn true."
Yeah, I don't know. I don't watch wrestling, man.
me neither.
Kurt Angle wrestled in the Olympics with a broken freaking neck.
I
Like,
did.
I didn't watch
put
that
a-
either.
Put a respect on his name. That's a
I mean,
goal.
he's a hell of an athlete. That's great.
Yeah.
You know?
All right,
There's-
real quickly, WWE all-time ultimate. Who's your ultimate character all time?
ultimate character, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and then John Cena.
I'm gonna go
Macho Man.
Macho Man.
I like the Undertaker.
Cream always rises to the top.
Undertaker's a wonderful character.
Yeah,
Cool character.
he
Wonderful character.
he just stuck around too long.
Yeah, that happens in WWE a lot.
Yeah.
Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan. Like
Yeah.
I don't watch it anymore like I used to, but God in the '80s, the Ultimate Warrior.
Mhm.
I now getting this YouTube thing. I watch DiBiase again. God, and I don't know who does those interviews. They're great. Like someone interviewed Bobby Heenan for an hour. I watched the whole thing twice.
I sent
One-
Rizzo old clips of his dad interviewing Jesse the Ventura.
That's cool.
Oh my
the-
God. The things that they said, though, you're like, whoa. You can't say that no
It
more.
was a different. It was a different time.
It was
Someone,
totally different.
someone that's really good at interviewing pro wrestlers and like some of those types of figures in the combat world. Chris Van Vliet, who used to do stuff at 19 Action News and now does podcasting nationally and stuff like that. I think he's from Canada, but he started working at 19 Action News here in Cleveland, was doing like
Wow.
their entertainment segment, and now is like
That's
a
cool.
big time podcaster. Chris Van Vliet, he will get some of the best information out of some of those guys and girls that went through all of that kind of stuff. Well, we are up against it. Andy, where can people follow you and find your work?
Instagram at official Cleveland Sports, Twitter, X, whatever we call it, at AJBill79, and then just buy War on the Diamond, please. Please.
We did.
Please.
We
I
made
own
sure
it.
we
got
did.
kids.
We have it.
I got kids too.
He's got
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you guys for having me on. I know I rambled tonight too much.
No.
It was awesome, man.
No.
Anytime.
You're just
seriously.
you were just part of the show. And
I
that's-
just
that's
needed
the
one
best
thing,
time.
man.
That's the best guests we have are the ones that just
Yeah.
become part of the show.
I need the clap, man. I need the
That
clap.
sounds weird.
Yeah. Yeah. Whoa.
Well, that Brown
Get
flag
out of
come
here.
out this
That was
year.
a great joke. I gotta give it to you, man. I was like,
Sorry.
oh, I didn't even realize I set myself up.
but the clap is special. People who want to. You've seen it 12 straight times already this year.
I know.
You're gonna see 15. The Sixers,
Bye-bye.
we're on front side. And that's what I like about this Cavs team. I can be cocky. This is not a cocky team.
Yeah.
No, they're very humble.
Composed, and they are. And I honestly,
And they're up 3.
I would actually probably for a day be like, who should they talk to? I'm like, have them talk to Kenny Lofton and bring him in that locker room. They could use a little swagger, just a pinchy poo of like swagger on that team because they are so good,
Mhm.
and they should. I'd like to see them strut their peacock feathers. Not a lot, just a little bit.
I feel
I
like
don't know.
I feel like it's coming because you see little moments from Darius and Donovan and,
I don't
and
know.
that like when they're going off during games. There's an element to that that's good.
Was it Darius that shot the 3 and did the Steph Curry turn around and just looked at the bench knowing
Yep.
he made it?
Yep.
They're getting there.
Yeah,
He does.
they have the elements,
does.
but they're not
Sure.
going to stray away from who they are, and you want this team.
Just
No.
keep your nose down and play
Yeah.
ball.
See,
all
that's
I
a
want.
Clevelander.
Yeah.
Keep your nose down.
Keep your
Yeah.
nose down and
I just
like
want
when
him.
Braun hit that shot against the Bulls. He went, I like that. I like that little fire. I like
Yeah.
the little.
Yeah.
By the way, real fast for everybody at Official Cleveland Sports, see you here after the game. And I just want to say thank you guys for having me on.
Absolutely.
Enjoy. And hey, I have kids. You can manage. You give them an iPad.
Yeah.
You say, Dad,
Yeah.
I watch a Browns game.
Yeah, that's what I do.
It's your
Here's your
job.
candy. Here's your Mike and Ike's.
Yeah.
You know, you lay out a tray of distractions.
Yes. Yes. That
I
is.
was-
Where's your mother? Find your mother.
Oh, he only wants his mother, but his mother's texting me saying I gotta say goodnight to him, so I gotta do that right now. So he goes to sleep for.
Bye bye.
No.
That's important.
Good night,
Throw it
Lincoln.
in.
Lincoln, Daddy
Clap,
loves you.
clap, clap, clap.
Clap, clap, clap.
Let's get a victory, Cavs.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. The Sixers are probably better off without Embiid and Maxey out on the floor. That's why they're having such success against the Cavs tonight. But for our guest, Andy Billman, for our partners, Greeny Sports Cards, go to greenysportscards.com. Next show, Kirtland, this Saturday, 9 to 2, Kirtland Senior Center, November 16th. For Ryan Mosser, always positive J, our producer extraordinaire, Peter Telep, off to my right. Of course, as I always say, don't let anyone ever tell you it's just a game. We truly love everyone, 3000.
Don't talk about it. Be about it.
Let's go Cavs.
And
Okay.
live life, all gas, no brakes. Lincoln, I love you. Good night. Go to bed for your mother. We will
Go
talk
to bed.
we will talk we will talk to everybody next week. Thank you so much.